So first and foremost,
I think the addition of pant leggings is really when you start to see your heroes get watered down.
can't even muster the ability to play straight pants for that one.
Which is a good argument for absolute rulers.
Everybody is going to get behind me. They're all going to love me, and my support numbers will go through.
When you hang out with the hero, it doesn't go well for you.
My grandfather
Yeah.
took the cob and just slid it right through the bar.
Oh, God. Okay.
And that became the dominant way our family did it.
Okay.
And so, in both of my marriages, they were treated to that.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Yeah, rage haiku.
How do you imagine the rubber chicken point?
My grandmother actually vacuumed in her pearls. Oh my God, it all makes sense. We'd had the sexual revolution.
It
and-
might have just been a Canadian standoff. We're going to go back to 9/11.
Dude, get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody understands what the Bill of Rights is supposed to
Agra has no business being that thick.
be. When the cultists win, we all win.
This is a Geek History of Time.
Where we connect nerdery to the real world. My name is Ed Blaylock. I'm a world history teacher here in Northern California. Now doing my job in a hybrid model. So I have, in fact, quote, gone back to work, end quote, as any number of folks have wanted to tell me and Damian to do over the last 9 months. Never mind the fact that we've been working our asses off anyway. We've just been doing it from home. Not that I'm at all bitter about that or anything. How about you?
Well, I'm Damian Harmony. I am a Latin teacher, something I can probably say for the last time coming
Sadly.
up soon. Yeah.
Sadly.
But then I will be a drama teacher, which is, you know, it's one of those, like, you didn't expect it, but you could see it.
Yeah,
moments. You
yeah.
know?
Well,
It's
I
okay,
can see
yeah.
you actually, giving yourself
really
the
good at it,
opportunity
yeah.
to get into dramaturgy. I'm sure you're going to be.
I'll be
Yeah,
great. I'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I have the mentality for such a thing. I have a way of forming a curriculum that builds on itself for the
Yeah.
kids to learn. I have the way of making people feel safe. But I started as an historian, and then I became a Latinist, and now
Yeah.
apparently a dramatist. So it's a weird shift, but you don't really pick the places that your life gets led to
Yeah,
so much as you pick where you want to go. And
yeah.
I could spend my time screaming in the wilderness about it, or I could just here's a new
roll
path.
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
might as well. But right now I am still a Latin teacher up here in Northern California, and I am teaching my children Latin, which is really, really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to their lesson this weekend and all this summer, quite honestly. It's
Okay,
gonna
cool.
Be, at least a day, a little bit each day of
Okay.
Latin, and they're really digging it. So it's
Good.
Cool. Yeah,
Very cool.
So, let's see. Last time we talked about pro wrestling,
Yes.
and how it had shifted from Hulk Hogan to Bret Hart in the WWF.
Yes.
Because, the steroid scandal and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And how the WCW brand had went and grabbed Hulk Hogan and a whole bunch of the cast-offs from WWF.
Yeah, and then had tried to duplicate what the WWF had done with them, but they didn't have
Production value.
they didn't have the production value. They didn't quite have the same spark.
Yeah, and it was very much a tale of just because you have the money doesn't mean you have the understanding of the business itself.
Well, yeah, because of course, WCW was being goaded forward by Ted Turner.
He was, in fact, the only one in his own organization who supported WCW. All of his people under him hated it.
Yeah.
But for the people that he put in charge of it. And
Yeah.
and also keep in mind that in the mid-1990s, all of these businesses finally hit the rock bottom. No pun intended, because that
Yeah.
will come a couple years later. Finally hit the rock bottom that they had been tailing toward since about 92.
Okay.
So it's almost like wrestling is a trailing indicator of the economy.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
interestingly,
Because
yeah.
okay. So when we're talking about like the point in time we've gotten to right now
Mm-hmm.
is 90 what?
Oh,
Like where are
I
we
keep
talking about?
Hovering around 95.
95.
But I'm
okay.
gonna go back to the 90. You know,
Okay.
I brought us forward with wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a pin in 95, and then I'm gonna go back and grab
Okay.
comic books, which is what I'm
which is
starting
okay
with today. Yeah.
Okay, but I want to kind of place that because
Sure.
you talk about wrestling being a trailing indicator
Yeah, it seems to be.
for the economy. Now,
Yes.
95 was the middle of Clinton's tenure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it was
and
toward
90,
the tail end of his first term. But
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, things are humming along. The economy is going.
Okay,
Yeah, he's really picked it back up.
yeah,
I'm going to give credit where it's due. Usually the president's first term is left handling what the last president did.
yeah,
A lot of the things that Clinton was able to take advantage of, and don't get me wrong, he pushed them into a better direction.
Yeah.
But economically, a lot of things he was able to take advantage of had begun happening under Bush.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Largely due to a Democratic Congress, though.
yeah. Well, largely
Bush
due to
signed off on it.
largely due to Democratic Congress and the fact that Bush Sr. Actually listened to his advisors
Right.
and said, I know it was a campaign promise, and I know it's going to piss my base off to the point of like
Losing
hermitile,
this election, yeah.
incoherent, like frothing at the mouth rage. But Greenspan says I got to raise taxes.
Got to raise taxes.
I got to raise taxes.
Because you can't have a war without raising taxes.
Well,
Like, what kind of moron would try that?
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. His son. And yeah. So,
It's so funny because
kind of moron.
John Adams was an incredible jurist.
Yeah.
And I mean, he focused
he was
on keeping us out of a war.
Yeah, he was. I would solidly say that Adams was a mediocre president, and
Yes.
he suffers in the historical record because he followed the very first guy to do the job,
Mm-hmm.
who winds up getting
Everything he does
placed
sets
on a
precedent.
pedestal. Yeah, everything he does sets a precedent. So the second guy is automatically going to have huge shoes to fill. And Adams was very competent, was very responsible. I think was rather statesmanlike.
Yes.
But he's not a personality.
Also kept America out of the war, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He really did. And
He really did,
gets
and there
credit
were
for that.
yes. Well,
But
historically, he
yeah.
gets credit for it, but
Right.
at the time, there was
Right.
a significant number of people, at least within America's political class, who were like, "No,
Yeah.
get him."
Yeah. Those were
and-
Southerners.
Yeah. Well, yes.
But
yes.
my point
yes.
is that Adams was a really good jurist, and his son was, I dare say, an even better jurist. And an even more able statesman who suffered from some of the same problems.
Yes.
It's a shame that
They were fuddy-duddies, both of them.
They really were. They were wonks. They were
yeah.
truly
Well,
wonks.
yeah. They were the 18th century and early 19th century's version of what today we call technocrats.
Yes.
They were experts in their field. They knew how to do the job.
Yep.
But they didn't have
Fill the room
charisma.
personalities. You're right.
Yeah.
And they were up against a southern bloc, essentially.
Well, yeah,
And a rural bloc in the north. So I'm just bringing up that John Adams was, in many ways,
he was the anti-W.
Well, yeah.
I think I kind of see where you're going.
The relationship between John Adams and John Quincy Adams, is inverted by the relationship between George Bush and George W. Bush.
HW.
Well, HW and then W.
HW and then W.
You had a man who was, and again, you and I somewhat disagree on HW because I put a lot of things at his feet, but I do think he was a solidly. Here's where we agree. I do think that he wanted to be a decent man.
Yes.
And he did stand on some principles. I'm not gonna say all, but some.
Okay.
But his son was just the Wish version of him.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
His son. The thing is, as we've discussed before, within the Republican Party, there were always these two wings.
Yeah.
And the father and son in the Bush semi-dynasty, whatever you want to call it, represent the two wings of the Republican Party.
That's very true.
The senior was old New England,
tradition,
Puritan, mainstream Christian, tradition,
Yankee.
very Yankee.
Yeah.
And the idea that you get into public service after you have done what you're going to do,
Right.
you get into public service as your way of fulfilling your responsibility.
Noblesse oblige.
Noblesse oblige, patrician kind of ideal.
You're still going to enrich your friends.
You're still going to enrich your friends,
but yes, okay.
but you're going
to the Rockefeller Republicans.
Yeah, yes, precisely.
Yeah.
Whereas the younger son, of course, got his big break into politics as governor of Texas.
Right.
Which was a Confederate state.
Yep.
And so he was emblematic of being himself the scion of a very wealthy family. He's like the poster child for Southern and Southwestern Sunbelt Republicanism, which is built around the legacy of the planter class, which is, well, I'm the second son of nobility. There's nothing for me here in the old country.
He is the second son too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm the second son. Yeah. No, it's, I mean, it's
yeah.
too perfect. Like if you wrote this,
somebody would send it back.
Somebody would be like, no, it's not believable. But the, second sons of the nobility came over here and was like, well, okay, you know what? I'm entitled. I am literally entitled. Or I would be if I wasn't the second child.
Right.
And so, but I'm to the manor born. And freedom to me means I get to do whatever I want to with my property.
Right.
And that's the be all end all. And that's the seed from which we get like literally everything that's wrong with the wingnuts of the Republican Party now.
Add a couple pieces to that also
flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. He was the Reagan version of Bush.
Oh,
dumb and charismatic.
Yeah,
but cunning.
Yeah, cunning.
Cunningly dumb.
Yeah,
and charismatic and a goddamn phony. I'm gonna go all Holden Caulfield
every
time.
Yeah.
But he was that. So had that far western entitlement to the property, like you said.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me he owned a baseball team.
Yes.
Which means he owned a large field on which brown and black people worked for him.
Yes.
And they were called the Texas Rangers. A group that was named after people who went off and just killed willy-nilly to expand white presence.
Yes.
In tech. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And we went for that.
The parallels.
The only thing that would be worse is if we went for I
don't know, a hack real estate developer, con man.
Who was so odious that they gave him a show because, hey, let's watch
this guy. Let's watch this guy be awful to people that we don't really like to begin with.
Yeah, it'd be imagine if we elected that, or if we elected Donald Trump. I was talking about Ronald Reagan. So thank you.
Nicely done.
Okay, so
nicely done.
I will
completely
forever
got me. On that
I will
one.
forever have more enmity toward Reagan because of his connection to Phyllis Schlafly, because of his yanking the Republicans away from the unreasonable right already that Nixon represented, and she
the autocratic right. Yeah.
But at least
I was the president. The president can't break the law.
Right. But at least he was trying to say, well, we should probably expand our message or we're going to lose voters. Whereas Phyllis Schlafly was like, no, we could just segregate.
Double down on. Yeah.
Which seemed to be the play every time. But also Reagan used to, he recorded records as to why communism and unions were bad, and then he would bring them to parties and play them at parties. Now, I don't know what parties were like in the 30s and 40s and 50s, but I can't imagine that was a good move.
Oh, are you kidding? He drowned in trim, dude. Just total
babes.
Panty drop right there. Yeah.
All right, so
anyway,
comic books.
In the circles in which he ran, anyway. Maybe that was the thing. But okay, comic books.
Books.
Okay.
In the 90s.
We're getting off the subject.
Yeah, we never got to the subject.
Yeah, well, no, it's true. Yeah. But now we are.
That train has sailed. Okay, comic books also a trailing indicator. They were wobbling in 1995, and there's a huge parallel between comic books and professional wrestling. The colors being a big part, oversized personalities, and the fact that they
melodrama.
And the fact that they both almost completely went bankrupt in 1995.
Was it almost? I vaguely remember DC or Marvel having to reorganize, having
I only found that I never found chapter 11. There might be a different chapter. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they took such a body blow that they were damn near bankrupt.
Okay.
WWF, for instance, almost went bankrupt too. They stopped having water service, like not water from the tap, but like water coolers. They're like,
wow.
Let's cut that cost. Now it's a big building. It's like 4 or 5 stories. That is a lot of water coolers. That's a multi-thousand contract. But that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
Like when, WCW had less of a problem because of Ted Turner
infusing it with cash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And at that time, he is ascendant. The 24-hour news cycle.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because he'd started his rise in the 80s
right.
with the foundation of CNN,
right?
Which everybody had been like, what the fuck are you going to do?
And he owned...
with a 24-hour news... who's going to watch the news at 3 o'clock in the morning?
And
what are you going to
owned,
do?
The Atlanta Hawks.
Yes.
So here you've got a guy who... And the Atlanta Braves, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
So here you've got a guy...
I had forgotten he'd owned the Hawks.
Yeah.
I knew he owned the Braves. Yeah.
Here you've got a guy who essentially can rob Paul to pay Peter, and it's okay because they're all his.
Yeah.
So he can keep WCW afloat. It can be the lost leader. I mean, it can be...
Yeah.
It can be the rotisserie chicken at Costco.
Yeah.
Which there was a funny story I read recently about the owner or the CEO of Costco, and they were like, we need to raise prices on the hot dogs. He's like, you do that, and I will kill you.
Well, yeah.
Because $1.50 is $1.50.
$1.50 is $1.50.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so,
well,
yeah.
It's one of it is a signature thing.
Exactly.
For their brand.
Exactly.
No, you can't. You cannot do that.
You can't raise that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So comic books had no such patron media deity. Now, in 1990, we're going to come back a little bit. In 1990, the awful crossover annual series called Days of Future Present started. Now, there had been Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
But this was Days of Future Present. This was 1990. And it crossed over in Marvel across the Mutant annuals plus the Fantastic Four annual.
Yeah.
And however, the creative lack that it displayed would show up again and again, despite it only being restricted to the annuals. It wasn't good. A friend of mine drew on it, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Okay.
But it's a pity.
Yeah.
It was such an awful story. In 1991, though, Marvel did the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Now, this was a huge crossover success. And it was happening just as the collector boom was increasing, and I think this is what led to the collapse in 95.
Yeah.
The collector boom itself is a hell of an indicator as to the reliability and stability of an economy, by the way. It's kind of like when you see an increase of buy gold commercials, you know the economy's going to take a shit.
Yeah.
You know that people's housing is going to cost a lot less all of a sudden. Same thing, because you're literally putting your money into something real, gold, right?
Yeah.
Well, this was comic books. That's also something real, which if you store it right, it will retain and then increase the value. That was the hope that happened with baseball cards, and that was the prediction. It wasn't stable in the early 90s, and we talked about that.
They were
having a massive impact on the homeless population in Santa Monica, which is what led to the writers in the mid-90s of Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Right? So, the Infinity Gauntlet benefited from this, though, because it was a 6-series limited run.
Oh.
So a lot of people bought them up, and issue 4 was amazing because it's all the heroes taking on Thanos, which is basically what we saw in the movies.
Yeah.
With a few exceptions. Although, there's some spots that are shot for shot, and I've shown my kids. I'm like, by the way, Hulk is Silver Surfer here. Remember how he crashes through the thing? Thanos is coming. That's Silver Surfer in issue 1. And then the Cap versus Thanos.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Now there's differences as well, but like what he did to Drax and to Mantis in the Infinity War movie, he did that to Wolverine and to Nova in the comic, in the Infinity Gauntlet. So Infinity Gauntlet benefits from this. Also, every single title it was a mandate that it had to have a crossover with Infinity. One issue had to cross over with Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Their whole publishing line.
Everything is all to support this thing. Now, this set a false premise for years to come. That this success could be replicated, that the crossover was the salvation.
The key was the fact that okay, so what we did was we linked everything together,
right?
And that's the reason we made money on this,
right?
When no,
that's part.
That's
nowhere near the important part.
Yeah.
Turns out there was a collector boom at that same time. Now in 1992, Marvel lost a ton of talent, because a lot of those authors and writers and artists went to form Image Comics.
Yeah.
Now, I have friends who love Image Comics. I confess I am as mainstream as a guy gets, so I never got into Image. I'm sure I would love it now as an adult, but...
All right. I'm going to say this as a Luddite. I never got into Image because I felt like a lot of Image titles were trying really hard to be edgy.
I don't know if they were trying so much as they weren't restricted by Marvel anymore. It was these artists finally getting to write art that they wanted.
Okay.
And I think that sometimes, it's kind of like when you finally let out a fart and then you're like, oh, I might have pooped myself a little.
No, I get it.
So,
but like now we look back on the decade of the 90s and we make fun of, extreme everything.
Yes.
And like on TV tropes, they refer to this period as the Bronze Age of comics, where everything had to turn into being, gritty and dark. And I just to me, as a teenager, it was a turnoff. And with everything that has happened in the world since, it's still a turnoff.
No, I get you,
and that's and all I'm saying is that's my personal
and I don't disagree
taste, bias, whatever you want to call
your take
it.
on it, honestly, because I also get real tired real quick of gritty. And I'm going to talk about gritty pretty soon.
Okay, all right.
But at the same time, I don't think they were trying to be gritty so much as they were rolling along in the zeitgeist, and the zeitgeist was getting gritty.
Was that way. All right.
So
that's fair.
Now, Image Comics forms at a time when the economic recession was really hampering luxury spending. So right as they leave, people stop spending so much on comic books, right? And distribution companies didn't help either, because they also scaled back. But it's not like Marvel was alone in losing people and treating people shittily. DC ran into a similar problem, and they both seem to be suffering from problematic business models through the 1970s, coming close to bankruptcy multiple times within the 1970s. And the thing is, their fix wasn't really a fix. It just delayed it. The reason is because they got enough of a shot in the arm by speculator markets, and which started in the mid to late 1980s. Now, I blame that one episode of Amazing Stories that had Mark Hamill in it, where he meets as a young man, he's waxing his car and he meets this goblin or gremlin. He says, I'll give you wisdom. He says, okay, he says, I'll grant you a wish or something to that effect. He says, well, I don't ever want to work. He says, don't throw anything away ever. And so Mark Hamill grows into an old man, and he's living in a shack, and he's poor as shit, and he's just hoarding everything. And then one day he's going to get gas, and he goes to pay for it with a collection of pennies that he had. And then two guys happen along, and they're like, oh my God, this is the first issue of Superman.
Okay.
So I tongue-in-cheek blame that episode.
Yeah,
really, the problem reaches back a lot farther. But either way, the speculator markets beefed up comic book sales all the way through the early 90s until the bubble completely burst in 1993.
Yes. Okay.
So neither DC nor Marvel had to innovate in order to stay alive, because the problems that they had in the 70s were solved by speculation, keeping things artificially inflated.
Okay.
And their flawed and ultimately uncorking business model continued well beyond its drop-dead date, bringing with it the end of a lot of comic books and, frankly, a lot of creative panic and creative instability.
Okay.
Now, by the 1990s, while there had been plenty of anti-heroes that were introduced in the 1970s, because, of course, they were introduced in the 70s.
Well, yeah.
And the 80s.
The 70s.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
They also seem to have gained a tremendous foothold in the 90s. Now, here's a short list. The Punisher. He starts in 74.
Yeah.
But he got his first standalone in 87.
Okay.
Now, I know this doesn't really fit the mold, but it does run straight through 1995.
Okay.
His second title started in 89. I know that that's not technically the 90s, but,
It's, historically speaking, it's close enough to
and
count.
that also ran until 95. Punisher Warzone, his third title at 1992. So you've got 3 titles that are running simultaneously of the Punisher. Now, Spider-Man had 4 titles running, but you have the Punisher, who's not a good guy, running from 92 to 95.
Okay.
Again, all 3 die in 95, and it's very much a 1990s comic. Gambit gets his first appearance in 1990. Deadpool gets his first appearance in 91. X-Force, which is the anti-hero version of X-Men, and they don't have any feet.
Yeah, because Liefeld.
91.
Okay.
Blade and Ghost Rider. Now, both were 70s characters,
Yes.
but they got a shot in the arm in the 90s. Blade got his own run from 94 to 95. I didn't know that before I started this.
Okay.
Wolverine got his own standalone starting in 88.
Yeah.
But it ran through 2003, and it was a mainstay of the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Venom even got his own series in the 90s.
Yeah.
DC did a lot of leather jackets and updates for their heroes.
Oh, my God.
Remember Superboy?
Oh, God.
But occasionally they'd also have a 90s replacement, like Artemis.
Oh, yeah.
Suicide Squad skipped the 90s entirely, interestingly enough.
Wait.
I was shocked to find that
Wait.
too.
No.
Yeah. They
Really?
did not. Suicide Squad did not exist as a comic in the 90s at all that I could find.
I find that so hard to believe.
It was a little off-brand. I was
okay.
confirmation bias did not win out for
Wow.
me that day. Yeah. Even Lobo, which was supposed to be a parody of grim and gritty anti-heroes, ended up with an enthusiastic following and run in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, and
No, he didn't get his own.
no?
No, we're talking about Grim Heroes, not Grim the Hero.
Oh,
So
nice.
The Thing did
nice.
not get
The
his.
Thing. Yeah, very
no.
good. Well
Thank you.
done.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Superman died in 92, by the way.
I was going to ask about that.
Yes.
Because I vividly remember
Mm-hmm.
I wound up the following Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con,
Yeah.
93.
Yes.
Because you mentioned Lobo.
And you graduated in 93.
I did
and you lived
graduate
in San
from 93.
Diego.
Yes.
And
so
back then
it
you
was
could
my
just walk
hometown
up.
con. Yeah, it
You
was.
could
It
just
was
walk
not.
up, yeah.
It was not the
Juggernaut
all of
that
pop
it's
culture
become.
juggernaut that it is now. It was big, but
My-
it was
my
not
brother-in-law-
ridiculous. It wasn't Hodge.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law,
Yeah.
when they first got married, they honeymooned in San Diego, and they were like, "What do you want to do today?" "Oh, let's go check it out." Now that was 2006, and they still could just walk right up.
Oh yeah, and buy tickets at the door.
Yes, but anyway,
Good luck trying that
no
now.
kidding.
Let me
Well,
tell you.
Yeah.
So, but I remember because you were talking about Lobo, and in '93
Mm-hmm.
at Comic-Con, Lobo came to Comic-Con as the every year.
Right.
At least back then, I haven't been in forever, but every year you got somebody they invited one of the guests of honor for the con to say, give us a story this year that'll be the convention comic book, and it was a Lobo comic, and the story starts with Lobo hanging out in a bar because it's Lobo. He finishes reading The Death of Superman,
Okay.
the comic.
Right.
And he winds up laughing so hard, he beats the comic against the table so hard he destroys it.
Of course.
And so he goes to Comic-Con to find another one. and it was an in-joke parody about the entire industry.
Yes.
And it was so completely over the top.
Yes.
Like he literally crashes his space hog
Right.
into the
Space chopper,
convention
yeah.
center, and limbs gleefully illustrated,
Yeah.
like severed limbs and eyeballs flying in all directions. And he goes to Artist's Alley and is sitting there as guys are coming up to get their portfolios reviewed.
Right.
And he goes, "Oh no, your anatomy's all wrong." Grabs somebody else out of the crowd, throws him across the table, gets out a knife and vivisects the guy, going, "See, all right, see here, you got your skin layer, and then you got
Right.
your surface musculature." And I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And so the thing is, the authors never lost sight of the fact that they were writing a parody. And I think an awful lot of the fans didn't lose sight of the fact that they were writing a parody. I don't think it avoided Poe's Law
right
entirely.
I think what we have is a Go Robo moment.
Yeah.
Forever we'll call it that from now on. So.
But
you're right.
No,
you're right.
And the death of Superman was this amazing moment where, as somebody who was peripherally a comic book fan at the time, I was never, as a kid, I was never like big into comics as a thing, but I was close enough to enough people who were.
Sure.
That I witnessed at the time the real-time conversation that was going on amongst comic book fans and people in the industry about the event of the death of Superman.
Yeah.
As an event.
Yes, and it was an event.
It was a huge event.
Yes.
And the backing and forth thing about, look what this is doing to the art form.
Yep.
We have how many different covers
Right.
were there for that issue? And it was, this doesn't have anything to do with the story.
Right.
This doesn't have anything to do with the character of Superman or the legacy or any of that. This is all about, we want to generate as many different versions of this comic book as we can.
Absolutely.
So that we can feed into collectors and speculation.
There you
Like
go.
we're gonna have like X-ray, platinum,
hologram,
weird hologram. That's what I was looking for. Hologram covers and 6 different artists being involved in different versions of the thing.
Because they had a business model that didn't work.
Yeah,
and this was how they were keeping it alive. So it
was an obvious ploy. Like, to everybody who was watching it, that's the part that gets me. Is you talk about they collapsed.
Yes.
And the thing is, they knew that what they were doing, everybody could see it. No. Like, it wasn't a, well, we're going to do this and it's going to work. It was, well, what the fuck do we do?
Well, this is one of the reasons why they start cutting staff. Yeah. Is one of the reasons why ultimately your artists form their own brand. Yeah. Like this. So also, I will point out, though, that I listed a bunch of anti-heroes.
Yes.
And all of this casting about for anti-heroes tells us that things are in a state of flux. There is a reaction to what's going on. The old way isn't working. This is a postmodern reaction to the deconstructed lies of prior eras. That's one of the reasons that this is happening. It's also a desperate trend designed to get those sweet, sweet ennui dollars. And by and large, it doesn't really work. And sure, the comics were successful at the time, but the whole industry was flagging really hard.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that in 1996, DC and Marvel had an official crossover, which then led to an amalgam universe between the two for a while that did not see the year's end. In 1996, we also saw the Onslaught, which is when the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers all joined up. So now you're buying their comics for the crossover stuff.
Yeah.
The Crossing, where Tony Stark died, again, was in 95. And while we're at it, Dr. Doom died twice in 1993. Wonder Woman died at one point, I think while she was wearing her leather jacket. Hal Jordan died in 1994. Lex Luthor died twice. Green Arrow died. Even Aunt May died. And that wasn't even the nadir creativity-wise. Creatively?
Creatively.
Yes.
Yeah.
That came, I think, with the Peter Parker clone saga. Spider-Man had 4 titles running concurrently by 1994, and this was Marvel's way of making sure that nobody would like any of them. So creatively, they're swinging for the fences more and more, and when you swing for the fences, you get a lot fewer hits. And all of this is in response to the very real economic, social, and creative pressures that art was facing in the mid-1990s. Now, all of this will finally get us to Philadelphia.
I didn't realize we were going.
Yes, we're going to Philadelphia.
Okay.
Because Philadelphia is what starts Eastern Championship Wrestling. Eastern Championship Wrestling then becomes Extreme Championship Wrestling.
And
Buckle in, because I'm going to hit you in the head with a frying pan. Because that's one of the weapons they use. So,
okay.
Philadelphia has a really weird relationship with sports.
Philadelphia is kind of a crazy city.
It is.
Like
for its name, there's an awful lot of hate. In 1968, they booed Santa Claus.
Yes.
It wasn't even that they booed him that was really... I mean, that's fucking weird. They threw snowballs and batteries at him.
Batteries.
They threw batteries.
That's the part that I always don't get. Like, why? Right. What is it about? Like, is it because
they're easy, they're
small?
heavy?
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
You know.
So
they also go ahead.
I want to take everybody in the audience back a few months.
Okay.
To January.
Okay.
When votes were being counted.
Yes.
And it was in Philadelphia, in the state of Pennsylvania, was one of the places that was turning into, is this going to be a flashpoint?
Right.
There was a lot of talk in conservative Twitter and in the red sphere of the internet about, well, we're going to go to Philadelphia, we're going to make sure this
that's right.
Trump, and I was struck by how immediate and harsh the laughter was.
Yes.
From everybody in Philadelphia about, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
We're the town that booed Santa Claus.
Right.
Like,
I remember. That's right. Then you had the Philly mascot.
Yeah. We're going, if you show up, we don't care what color your hat is. We don't care what kind of gun you bring. No, we will fuck you up, and we will enjoy doing it.
Yes.
Like it's gonna be fun. Like they have to grease the light poles when we win a championship title.
That's the thing.
They officially grease light poles.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like
they have a court in the stadium where the Eagles play. They have an actual court, like with a judge and a bailiff and a holding pen. And that is a district. So
because Eagles fans are
In 1983, those same Eagles fans beat the shit out of the mascot for the Washington Redskins. Now that was during the game.
Fuck me.
After the game, they beat him up again in the parking lot and they broke his leg. Yes. They're famous. They're famous for lighting quarters. Or like heating up quarters and throwing them on the ice for Philadelphia Flyers games for hockey.
Jesus Christ, these people are barbarians.
And by the way, the owners of the Flyers are some of the shittiest people that have ever existed. So it's this really weird match.
Okay, yeah.
But they're also some of the most knowledgeable fans in sports fandom. So imagine what this does for Philadelphia wrestling fans. Good Lord.
My God. Okay.
So, now, by the way, remember, Bill Clinton is the first boomer president in 92. There's a huge backlash by those who were used to being in power, an extreme cultural reaction at the same time, be it racial, sexual, or simply generational.
Yeah.
Order versus chaos.
Okay.
1994 comes, and you've got the midterm elections. After 40 years of the House being Democrats, and after 58 years of the House being Democrats, with only 10 years going the other way, both houses were now clearly in Republican control.
Yes.
This is a massive political upheaval in the middle of a massive cultural upheaval during a massive economic upheaval. Nothing is stable. Everything is breaking convention.
Well, and on the world stage, by this time in the Clinton presidency, we are looking at the Balkans War. No.
So I'm in 94.
94.
The Balkans War. You're talking the bombing of Yugoslavia and all that?
Yeah.
That was 99.
99. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But
NAFTA,
we do NAFTA.
Mm-hmm.
We do have the dissolution of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, it was a few years prior.
Yeah, but I mean, and our position as one pole.
Yes.
Of a
when the other one fell off.
A bipolar world.
Yep.
We're still wobbling about okay, do we now become the unipolar power?
Right. Do
we what is this? What does this mean?
It's that moment of is this hegemony?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's no wonder that nostalgia collectors was really popular on a massive scale. You remember 1994 was also the year Forrest Gump came out. which was a movie
yeah.
that made tons of apologies for racism and whitewashed and lampooned the activism of brown people and black people in the 60s. And it was told through the simple eyes of a very problematic character.
Yes.
Who in the book had a huge dick, by the way. Good times.
Okay.
White boomers and later reaction to change. And you have commercialized myth-building nostalgia.
Okay, yeah.
Remember Woodstock?
Oh, yeah.
In 1994, baby, the 25th anniversary. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
was, so let's commercialize the hell out of it. But to be honest, Woodstock itself was commercialized from the get-go.
Yeah.
But Woodstock 94 was such a different beast from 69. It was promoted as, quote, 2 more days of peace and music. So thoroughly derivative. That
Yeah.
is so thoroughly driven by nostalgia. And the 25th anniversary
Well,
of
it was
Woodstock.
plastered with corporate logos.
Yes.
From the, like, Pepsi was,
Yes.
like, I remember the images
Yes.
of
with the bird on the thing.
Yeah.
It was a very capitalist, opportunistic vibe. That vibe was missing, however. Well, it was missing. However, it was also ever present in the original. It was missing from the public consciousness, even though the guys who started it were trying to make a ton of money.
Well, yeah.
But the weather, men plan the weather.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The weather was having none of it. The rains brought a ton of mud with them, and the whole affair was a dark carnival version of its historical antecedent.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really interesting to read about. But what I remember the most was the mud-covered performance by Nine Inch Nails, as well as the audience throwing mud at Primus when they sang "My Name Is Mud."
Yeah.
So you've got nostalgia, big deal, right?
Yeah,
And you've
huge,
got,
big
now
deal.
let's go back to Philadelphia. So ECW,
All right.
Eastern Championship Wrestling, was born out of Tri-State Wrestling Alliance and the NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling combining. You remember the territory
Yeah,
system,
yeah,
right?
okay,
so
yeah,
this
yeah.
is one of the territories. In 1992, it all combined to shorten to Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
In April of 93, this particular promotion got TV time semi-locally. Now, if you get TV time in Philly, that's a pretty big region.
Okay. Yeah.
And a few months later, Paul Heyman, who formerly had been known in WCW and the AWA as Paul E. Dangerously, and his whole thing was he is a slick New York corporate guy with a giant phone the size of, it was a brick phone era.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that was the
Yeah.
prop that he would hit people over the head with. Like Jimmy Hart had a megaphone.
Yeah.
He had this thing, and it did just as much damage
Okay.
because it was a
Because
giant
it would.
walkie-talkie.
My
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
So Paul Heyman joins the promotion and becomes a booker because he just lost his job at WCW.
Okay.
So Booker is the person who handles the storylines, sets up the matches, stuff like that.
Okay.
So at this time, the NWA was... Yes.
Okay, so wait. So his title is Booker,
Yes.
but as the guy who's responsible for storylines, he's kind of a creative director.
Yeah, I mean, a booker is a creative director.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just,
But
you know.
the booker would say, okay, this is where we want the match to... The final blow-off, that's what it's called. This is what
Okay.
we want it to be. And to get to there, we need to get to here. And to get to here, we need to get to here. And to get to here, we need to get to here. And to get to here, we need to get to here.
Okay.
Now, you two guys go out and make that happen.
Okay. So he's the high level plot line guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
he is giving the wrestlers the skeleton. They flesh it out with their matches.
Okay.
And with their promos.
Okay.
Okay. Now, at this time, NWA is on its very last legs, as will happen a lot. The NWA, as you might remember, was the National Wrestling Alliance, which
Yes.
had been founded in 1948 by a bunch of bookers throughout the United States. By the 1980s, Vince McMahon had driven most of the member territories out of business, or he had bought them out.
Yeah.
And he would do so with a balloon payment. He says, look, I will pay you a little bit now, and a little bit and a little bit, and and on and on.
Yeah.
And if I don't make the full payment for you, you get to keep all the money I've given you. And then he would just concentrate on that, and he would steal their stars. So the largest remaining promotion was WCW in the NWA.
Yeah.
And it left in 93. So nowadays, if you hear about the NWA, it's had a resurgence. It's its own promotion. And the reason why is because it's licensed out its name to other promotions in the 2000s. That's how it stayed pseudo-relevant.
Okay. All right.
But previously, it had been a fairly hallowed organization. But by 93, it was a hollowed organization.
Nice.
Thank you. By 94, the non-compete clause that Jim Crockett... Okay, Jim Crockett was the guy in charge of Jim Crockett Productions, which was based out of Georgia prior to Ted Turner's takeover, which is a pretty big deal in the wrestling world. He had signed a non-compete clause with Ted Turner when he sold his Georgia promotion to WCW.
Okay.
So WCW had the NWA championship for a while, and then eventually he had a clause that finally let up in '94. So now he gets to use the NWA's name, the NWA title again.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So he, being Jim Crockett, wanted to revive the brand of NWA. Now, it was kind of a dead brand. Old promoters. They always go back to the same old thing, right?
Okay.
So he being Jim Crockett, he contacts a guy named Todd Gordon. Todd Gordon is the guy who's also in charge of Eastern Championship Wrestling. He's the other guy. So he brought in Paul Heyman to be his booker.
Got it.
So you've got the promoter, and that's Todd Gordon, and you've got the booker.
Okay.
The president of NWA did not trust Crockett and Gordon combined to share the championship and send the champion around to all the other asphyxiated territories. Yeah. In fairness, Crockett did tend to monopolize the NWA title because he had Ric Flair through much of the 1980s.
Yeah, okay. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Now, this distrust that was inherent in the NWA was sometimes why Lou Thez ended up with the belt from the 40s through the 50s. Because they couldn't trust each other, so they're like, well, just put it on Lou. He'll do the right thing, and he's a good enough shooter that no one can take liberties with him.
Okay.
So Crockett wants Gordon to host a tournament for the championship to crown the NWA new champion.
Okay.
So the president of NWA, whose name was Dennis Coraluzzo, made sure that he personally oversaw the tournament in Philly. So he's there kind of stepping on Todd Gordon's toes, and Todd Gordon and Paul Heyman are wanting their own creative freedom, but Coraluzzo is like, well, I think, he's the boss who shouldn't show up.
Yeah.
So this antagonism lit the match under Gordon to do something drastic with the title. Kind of like, well, fuck you. If you're going to be here, I'm going to go Philly on you. Enter Shane Douglas. Do you know that name?
It sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah. Now, Shane Douglas was trained by Dominic DeNucci, a local Pittsburgh, Philly, East Coast Italian wrestler who did a pretty good job when he was there. He was the guy who would often fight the champion.
Okay.
Or he would be the guy before you get to the champion. He's the same guy who trained Cactus Jack, whom you'd probably know as Mick Foley.
Oh.
Now,
okay.
Shane Douglas was a traditionalist who'd gotten a series of bad opportunities that he floundered through both the WWF and the WCW. In the WCW, he was part of the Dynamic Dudes, alongside a guy named John Laurinaitis, who you might know as Johnny Ace. And if you don't, that's okay, because he was big in Japan. But his brother, you'd know, his brother's name was Animal.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So the Dynamic Dudes was not a good gimmick. It was two white blonde guys running to the ring carrying skateboards that neither knew how to use.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't go well.
Yeah, like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
All right.
His second run in the WWF, he was known as Dean Douglas, a heel who was a college professor. Because Shane Douglas had gone to college, and Vince McMahon likes to do occupation-based gimmicks in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
And he'd ask you, like, what would you used to do? Well, I was a trash guy. Great. Duke the Dumpster Drozy. You're going to be a trash man now. It's like, fuck. What'd you used to do? Well, I was a hockey player. You're going to be the goon. God damn it. What'd you used to do? Well, I was a post-apocalyptic warrior. Yeah. What else did you used to do? I was a repo man. Great. You're going to be the repo man. What'd you used to do? Well, I was tailor-made Terry Taylor. You're going to be the Red Rooster. What the
Wait.
So Dean Douglas, Shane Douglas becomes Dean Douglas. He's a college professor, and he's always giving lessons, and his music was scratching a chalkboard.
Okay.
That was his entrance music. Yeah.
I mean, thematically, it makes kind of sense.
I guess. He's a bad guy, and he'd always tell the good guys what they were doing wrong on this chalkboard. I firmly believe that his promos were what inspired the same dumb shit with Glenn Beck and his stupid lessons with the chalkboards. It's the exact same thing.
Oh, God.
Pro wrestling, man. Pro wrestling.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I think so. I will show you a promo when we're done recording this, and you'll tell me.
Oh, Jesus.
But yes. He was a mid-carder. That's,
Okay.
You know, and
He has a lot to answer for.
Yeah, he
I'm
does.
just saying.
Yeah.
Because,
So he's a mid-carder who was buried by other wrestlers during his run, which, outside of ECW, was his most memorable run. But his first ECW run was really the thing I want to home in on. So Todd Gordon and Jim Crockett and Paul Heyman convinces Shane Douglas to win the NWA Championship belt and then to shit all over it in a promo. Now, Shane Douglas had been trained by a traditionalist. He himself was a traditionalist. This is not how you do business. But they explained, and he said, like, look, he's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And they said, no, take a look. The only people it's going to piss off are wrestling purists, and this will be how you get notoriety. And the wrestling purists don't matter anyway, because most of the fans aren't those anymore.
okay.
And Douglas, frankly, didn't like Coraluzzo anyway, because the two of them had a dispute over when he was booked in NWA territories as it was. So after he won the tournament and he was presented with the NWA title, the same title that Lou Thez had held, the prestigious and historical belt, he threw it down and said the following. And I don't have his voice, so I'm not going to, he would talk like this, and you know, you could look it up. But he says, in the tradition of Lou Thez, in the tradition of Jack Briscoe, of the Briscoe brothers, of Dory Funk Jr., of Terry Funk, the man who will never die, as the real Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers, upstairs tonight, from the Harley races to the Barry Windhams to the Ric Flairs, I accept this heavyweight title. Wait a second. Of Kerry Von Erich. Of the fat man himself, Dusty Rhodes. This is it tonight, Dad. God, that's beautiful. And Rick Steamboat. And they can all kiss my ass. And then he threw it down. So he names all of these.
Yeah, big, legendary,
you know,
figures.
And then he says, because I am not the man who accepts a torch to be handed down to me from an organization that died, rest in peace, 7 years ago. The franchise, he points to himself, Shane Douglas, is the man who ignites the new flame of the sport of professional wrestling. And at this point, he takes out the ECW title. Tonight, before God and my Father as witness, I declare myself, the franchise, as the new ECW heavyweight champion of the world. We have set out to change the face of professional wrestling. So tonight, let the new era begin. The era of the sport of professional wrestling, the era of the franchise, the era of the ECW. Now, this is a huge hit in Philadelphia. And Philly's the only place this could have played so well. It is gobsmacking. He is shitting on all the traditions.
Wow.
Which the thing is, like, wrestling pretends to love its traditions, but it's inherently self-cannibalized.
Well, yeah.
It's a carny. But he called it what it was, and that's a no-no, you know?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a violation of kayfabe.
Right. And
it's like a meta violation of kayfabe.
And look what he's doing. He is chaotic, and he's throwing down order. We come right back to that.
Right, yeah.
Coraluzzo, the head of the NWA, the old traditional head of the NWA, and his most tone deaf of
had
tone
a coronary.
Deafness. No, instead, that would have been better. After the event was over, he said in an interview that Douglas couldn't refuse the NWA belt and was the champion of the NWA, quote, whether he likes it or not. And then he said that he was going to move to have Douglas stripped of both the NWA World Championship and the Eastern Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, calling him undeserving of both titles.
Okay, so he's playing right into the hands
of
do we know for sure that this wasn't
was not a work from Coraluzzo. Coraluzzo got worked. This was not a work. This was a shoot. He straight up was like, how dare you besmirch.
Really?
Yeah, because look at all the shit that he'd done.
He didn't see.
He was not in on it.
Well, I mean, whether he was in on it or not, he didn't read the situation.
No. No, he didn't. Because he's an old-timey promoter.
Okay.
And they're, So the next night, Todd Gordon says, quote,
wow.
I listened with great interest as a representative of the NWA Board of Directors.
When they get formal,
Yes.
it's going to get ugly.
Yeah. Took it upon himself to inform you that they have the power to force NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling to not recognize the franchise Shane Douglas as a World Heavyweight Champion. Well, as of noon today, I have folded NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling. In its place will be ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, and we recognize the franchise Shane Douglas as our World Heavyweight Champion, and we encourage any wrestler in the world today to come to ECW to challenge for that belt. This is the ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, changing the face of professional wrestling.
Holy shit.
ECW declared itself on the corpse of the NWA. And you have two forces pulling in wrestling, old school versus new school.
Wow. Okay.
Now, here's where it gets weird, right? So this is
because it hasn't been weird at all until now.
You can kind of see iconoclasm as being a
yeah,
thing, okay?
Yeah.
The old, I mean, shit, when you watch Godfather Part 3, which I think came out right around the same time, he even says, the young try to replace the old. That's the natural order of things.
Yeah.
It's a 90s version of it, but
no, that makes sense.
But WWF and WCW were pretending to do this in their organizations anyway. But they weren't really leaving the old school behind. Remember, the WWF was doing the new generation thing.
Yeah.
And they were using traditionalists to be the new generation. They were trying to grasp that new extreme idea without really knowing how to grasp it, whereas ECW stood out and declared itself and basically did as postmodernists do.
Yeah.
We reject the old way. This is a new thing.
Yeah.
Now, wrestling rings are an interesting piece of architecture, I think. They're square.
Yeah.
Most of them. They're usually 20 by 20 or 18 by 18. They have four corners. They have stairs you walk up to get into them, and they have 3 turnbuckles. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
On each corner. They're icons of order.
Yes.
And tradition, right? They literally have a canvas on the mat.
Yes.
So artists, right? And this is where wrestlers tell their stories to the vulgar masses.
Yeah.
This is the place where everyone's attention is fixed in an arena, watching oversized men making oversized moves and reacting with oversized expressions.
Sparkly murder gymnastics.
Yes. All with a predetermined outcome. It is a beautiful vulgarity.
It's theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ropes contain the action. The corners contain the ropes. The ropes and the corners are softer than the mat, but they are used to inflict great injury. Some wrestlers use them to launch themselves at other wrestlers.
Yes.
There are 4 ways to win in a wrestling match. Now, it used to be that if you jumped off the top rope, you would be disqualified, by the way.
Oh, really?
That was a normal thing through the early 90s.
Okay.
Then they did away with it because more and more high flying, the Japanese style was influential.
Yeah.
But you can pin your opponent. That's way number 1. Or you could make your opponent submit. That's way number 2. Now, both of these must occur within the confines of the ring itself.
Okay.
Your opponent could get caught cheating and get disqualified any number of ways.
Okay.
Or your opponent could end up outside of the ring, though if you throw him out over the top rope into the 1990s, that would also disqualify you. Such was the danger.
Okay.
That's why Battle Royals were such a big deal, because you have to throw them out over the top rope. They're extra dangerous that way.
Okay, all right.
Really, they're extra dangerous because anybody could fall and roll your ankle.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So he would be counted out. Usually it'd be a 10 count, but in some organizations it was a faster 20 count.
Okay.
Just kind of depended. But that's it. That's how you win in wrestling. Okay. The ring represents the social contract.
Okay.
The willingness of good guys and bad guys to agree to a literally leveled playing field. Victory is always held in the ring. Bookers would restrict trips outside of the ring very carefully. The first few matches of a card, we've talked about this, would never leave the ring.
Yeah, don't ever leave the ring. No blood.
No blood.
Yeah.
Disqualifications were exceedingly rare in the first few matches, too. You show people how it's supposed to be with the first few matches.
Okay.
You get them excited. Now, as the night wears on, cheating may happen more. A good guy may be thrown out of the ring. The bad guy will stay in the ring, hoping to score an effortless victory at a time, using the rules to his advantage.
Okay.
The bad guy might retreat to the outside of the ring, a cowardly chance to regroup in a cunning fashion, to gain a rest that he otherwise wouldn't have gained. Still, the action happens inside the ring.
Right.
Now, later in the night, blood may spill if it's a grudge match or if it's an especially grueling contest. Blood adds to the story. Don't spill it too soon, and if you do, you lose the magic. Blood is not for every card.
Okay.
In ECW, all of that goes out the fucking window.
Okay.
And I think it was specifically the Philadelphia-ness of the audience.
Okay.
And when Paul Heyman bought out Todd Gordon, and he has full control of ECW, he was able to turn the heat up on all those shows. From beginning to end, the entire thing was spilling outside of the ring, outside of tradition, and out of the public imagination. ECW gained TV syndication in 93 and started doing pay-per-views 4 years later. But in those 4 years, between the beginning of TV and the beginning of the pay-per-views, there was a deep dive, and I mean it literally, into the chaos. Matches went all over the arena. The fans ate it up. Matches began going into the crowd. The crowd would go ape shit. The crowd would start chanting for people. You know, they'd ECW, ECW. Or they'd start chanting like, holy shit, because it's
Philly.
Or, my favorite, you fucked up. You fucked up.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so I want to go back for a second to the way the structure is supposed to work.
Yes.
Okay. There was a fascinating thing I read several years ago that was an anthropological study of magic and religion.
Okay.
And one of the central points that was involved was the idea that in any religion, every religion has rituals.
Right.
And within any religion, if you look hard enough, you can find the ritual that is the core ritual from which all of the others gained their legitimacy.
Yes. That would be the pinfall in wrestling.
So in Christianity,
Yes.
that's communion.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Makes
That is the central rite of Christianity. It is the central promise, the central issue.
It is the ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's
know,
no better way to put it. It
Yeah.
is the ritual. Yeah.
And that is what then provides the imprimatur of legitimacy on everything else that happens within the church. The author of the paper, of course, didn't apply it to Christianity because they were talking about
Others. Yeah.
other religious traditions.
Sure.
But I was going through our CIA at the time, and so I immediately made that connection. I was like, oh, okay, well, this makes sense. So those first few matches of a card
Yes.
were that ritual,
Yes.
establishing the legitimacy of this is the sport, the reminder to the crowd.
These are the rules.
This is the Catholic in me. I'm looking
Yes.
at this and I'm seeing the order of the Mass.
Yes.
This is what brings us here together today.
Yes.
This is the sport we're all here to see.
Yeah.
And then everything else we do here is the theater, the catharsis, the
Yes.
blood of Christ,
Right. The bloodletting.
the
The
bloodletting,
Stations of the Cross.
Stations of the Cross. Yes.
You don't start with the
yeah.
flogging and the whipping
Until
you're Baptist.
you get to Pentecostalism.
Right. And then you start with that.
And then it's like, no, we get the snakes out now.
Yeah.
Like
You start with the snakes.
We go big or go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that
So the crowd
like
goes
that leapt at me when you're
Yes.
talking about that.
Yeah,
So
and
okay.
the crowd goes apeshit for all of this.
Okay.
Again,
Speaking in tongues.
yeah, I mean,
You
they're
know.
going into the crowd. You don't go into the crowd. There are safe zones marked off by basically metal bicycle racks, right?
Yeah.
They're diving over them.
Oh yeah.
Fans are getting hit, and they don't mind.
And they love it.
To the point where the story in the match is not a story. The violence is the story. Speaking of your Pentecostals and your
Yeah.
right? And then shit got wild. And then shit. Okay, have you ever been to Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No, but
Me
I
either.
am adjacent to a
Yes,
number of people.
I have plenty of friends who did.
So I know
It
of
is
it.
It is a staged event, right?
Yes. Oh,
It
yeah.
is the most postmodern thing I have ever heard of. Think about it.
It is immensely meta.
Yes, because think about it. You have a script, and everybody in the audience willingly and actively participates in the script, pretending at the chaos. But there is a total breakdown between the stage and the audience, and yet everybody behaves according to the script.
Well, yes.
Audiences throw things at appropriate times.
Yes.
At Rocky Horror. Rice
Yeah.
at one point. One friend of mine actually said that she got home so late that she fell asleep and fell right to sleep. When she woke up the next morning, she got undressed to get in the shower and rice fell everywhere. And it was only then that she'd remembered that she'd gone to the Rocky Horror Picture Show that night.
Oh, right. Because
Right.
because the ritual.
Exactly.
Again.
Yeah. Why does
you
my
know-
mouth taste like bread and wine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I went to
okay,
mass
yeah.
last night. Yeah. Yeah. Only. Yeah. But
It's the same idea.
Like
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah.
The
Why is my dad dead? Oh, right. Because we went to see snakes.
you know, what this brings up to me,
Uh-huh.
what it kind of drives home is, as monkeys,
Mm-hmm.
like as primates,
Yes.
there is a very deep part of us
Yes.
that craves ritual.
Yes, we do.
And I find it funny
Mm-hmm.
that we will make them up about literally anything
All of the
in
things.
order to get a fix.
Yes.
And for all of their intelligence, insight, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Marx
Mm-hmm.
and
Engels or Smith?
no,
Trotsky?
Lenin.
Okay.
Lenin and Trotsky, like, they didn't figure out the central importance of the whole idea of religion is the opiate of the masses, and like, no,
Right,
we gotta
right.
do away with religion. Okay, look, cool.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from there. You know,
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but I understand the thought process behind that. But like, have you looked at your fellow primates?
Right. Well, and
You
this
know.
is, I'm going to sound really fucked up for just a second.
Okay.
This is what Hitler got right,
Okay.
was his use of Catholic ritual while displacing the Catholics.
Oh yeah.
You know, his use of religiosity while creating genocide.
Yeah.
The Nuremberg rallies were just rife with ritual. He would, go and lay a wreath where his friends in the beer hall Pooch had gotten killed, like annually. Ritual,
Oh yeah.
ritual.
Ritual.
The problem with being
Yeah.
an iconoclast is that unless you have a ritual, one will spring up.
Oh yeah.
And ECW was the same way.
Okay.
Audience members became regulars because it was almost always the same venue.
Okay.
And they had a, quote, they had a bring your own weapons match where fans were explicitly encouraged to bring random objects to the ECW arena so that the wrestlers would use them in their matches. And these fans, ruthlessly loyal to ECW, would bring all sorts of objects. Here's a list. One fan brought a kayak. Other things that were brought. Vinyl records. That kind of makes sense. It'll shatter,
okay,
right?
yeah.
Cheese graters.
Fuck me.
Yes. Bowling pins.
Okay.
VCRs.
Okay.
And most infamously, the cast iron skillet.
I'm sorry. I don't understand how the cast iron skillet is the most infamous. When you mentioned a cheese grater.
Because, dong.
Oh, okay.
Like,
the theatricality of it. Okay.
So, now, any one of these items
God,
should have been a disqualification. But no, because it's ECW. And since it's Philly, they had shirts made saying ECFNW.
Of course.
Now, this does not speak anything to the liberal use of chairs, the balcony in the venue,
Whoa.
table. Yes,
Okay.
They would stack up tables and jump off a 30-foot balcony. In fact, as of this recording, one of the most famous guys, his name is New Jack, and I'll probably talk about him in the next episode. He died today. He was in his 50s. He died way too young, but oh my God, that guy is chaos incarnate. Go look him up. Just
Okay.
look up the mass transit incident alone. You should never have
the mass transit incident.
You should never have a pro wrestler who has 3 justifiable homicides on his record. I'm just saying out loud these things. Yeah.
What
He
the
would-
actual fuck?
Yeah, and he would jump off of. Oh God! He worked for Jim Cornette, one of my favorite guys in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and he was part of. I think they were called the Gangstas. So 2 black guys in Smoky Mountain Wrestling, gonna be the bad guys.
Yeah.
And during one of his promos, again, this is one I can show you between the shows. During one of his promos, he says, "I just want to give a shout out to OJ. That's 2 down. We got a whole lot more to go, baby." Like, he said this on TV, and you should see Bob Caudle just like, what the fuck? It's so fun. Holy shit, right? So anyway, New Jack would dive off the balcony onto people who were on stacks of chairs. Tables.
A 30-foot balcony.
Yeah, stacks of tables, pardon me. But yes, they would use barbed wire. One time, the ropes were barbed wire. They would use metal spikes. They would use kendo sticks. They would use all this stuff. Now, perhaps the most 2 telling instances, and I'm going to leave with these 2 stories, and we'll start up the next episode after that. The most 2 telling instances, you are so horrified, of how
I can't even speak. Like, oh my God.
Of how acceptably chaotic ECW promotions were.
Yeah.
Are the Al Snow head incident and the chair incident.
Okay.
So we're going to take them in reverse order. Let's talk about the chair incident. Now, you look like you got something you got to say.
Just the fact that these have been codified with the name The Blank Incident.
Yes.
Like, there's a trope.
Yeah.
On TV tropes. That's. I mean, the one I'm borrowing from is the spaghetti incident. Which is taken from the Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Title, and you never find out what the spaghetti incident actually was, but it's the blank incident.
Sure.
And in the trope, it's, the characters talk about this thing that clearly was a big deal. Something awful happened or some big, thing. And then you never learn what it is.
Right.
And like, these sound like spaghetti incidents, but I know they're not.
Yeah, they're on videotape.
And I'm horrified.
As you should be.
Just like by the thought.
Yes.
I'm scared.
Yes.
Okay.
So the chair incident happened in 1994 at Hardcore Heaven.
Okay. Yeah.
Wasn't a pay-per-view,
very,
but it was
very 90s. Okay.
Now, during the main event between Terry Funk, who was the former NWA champion from the 70s,
mentioned by Shane Douglas, Shane Douglas
now,
in his speech.
To know Terry Funk is the only other brother. So there was 2 brothers who had both been NWA champions. The other one was Dory Funk Jr. Dory Funk Jr. got the title, then he lost it to somebody, and then eventually Terry Funk takes it up. Dory Funk Jr.'s dad, Dory Funk, had been a wrestler, died of a heart attack at a young age. So he had 2 sons who went into the business. Dory Funk was very much a technical traditionalist, and Terry Funk was a brawler, and he was a mean-ass heel, nasty heel. In the 70s, he was a big deal. He had radically reinvented himself as, quote, middle-aged and crazy by this point.
Okay.
And
so perfect for this particular promotion.
Matter of fact, yes.
All
and so it was a match between Terry Funk and Cactus Jack. You know him as Mick Foley.
Yeah, okay.
And frankly, during the whole card, starting in the 3rd match, they made very liberal use of steel folding chairs. During the main event, there was a tag team named Public Enemy, both of whom are dead now. They brought their own tables to the ring normally.
Wow.
They interfered with the match, making it a no contest. And here's the thing. You're supposed to fucking end a match with an actual decision, but in ECW it didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So they interfered with the match. And after that ruling came down, Public Enemy continued to beat down Cactus Jack. Terry Funk decided, I'm going to come to his rescue. Now, the 2 of these guys, Terry Funk and Cactus Jack, had wars over in Japan called death matches.
Well, yeah.
Where actual explosions happened. And actual, like, strangling people with barbed wire happened and shit like that.
Yeah, a real fight masquerading as a wrestling match.
But like a bloodbath. Okay. So Terry Funk comes to his rescue, and the 2 start beating Public Enemy back. And then it got all ECW-y. Terry Funk asked a fan for his chair. Leaned down
Okay.
over the ropes. Give me a chair. The fan tossed it up to him. Across the guardrail, which is what keeps fans back, across the apron, into the ring. So we're breaking so many conventions here.
Oh, yeah.
Then more fans start throwing more chairs. Then more and more and more until Public Enemy was literally buried under chairs. It's insane.
Wow.
Yes.
What? Okay.
Now, this next incident was a series of incidents in 1997 and
Buried them
1998.
under chairs.
Yeah, buried them
So
under
what,
chairs.
so what we're saying here is
Yeah.
the crowd at an ECW match was basically a barely contained riot
Yes.
waiting to happen.
It was an appropriately
Timed. Yes.
interactive
Okay.
experience that followed a script.
Okay.
Yeah,
And occasionally went wildly off the rails because
but never off script because the violence was the story.
It was the story. Okay. Yes.
So very postmodern. Now,
Yeah.
the next one I'm going to talk about, this happened between 97 and 98, and it's in the full throes of chaos for ECW, right? ECW would hand out styrofoam heads to the audience because there was a... Here's why.
Okay.
Al Snow he's an incredible wrestler. I love him. Al Snow had a mannequin head, and he wrote the words "help me" backwards on the mannequin's head. Okay. It was a woman's head, and it was almost always a brunette, and it said "help me." And then he wrote "help me" forwards on his forehead, so they were matchy, right?
Okay.
And then he'd come out, and she'd be giving him advice.
Okay.
Okay. So Al Snow would come out to Prodigy music, carrying his own mannequin head and dancing with it, and dancing like you would at a rave because that's what he was turning it into. And everyone else would raise their heads in the air, their own styrofoam heads in the air, and they would headbang in tune with Al Snow's head.
Okay.
And they'd all shout, "Head, head, 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 head."
Okay.
Now, when he gets to WWF, he keeps this gimmick, and his theme song it starts with him shouting, "What does everybody want?" And the whole crowd would shout, "Head." "What does everybody lead?" The whole crowd would shout, "Head." "What does everybody love?" "Head, head."
Oh my God.
Now he'd get in the ring, and the fans, he'd do this little dance, and he'd be shaking it, and then he'd do this. He'd wave in, and all the heads, the whole audience would give him head.
Oh my God. Okay.
That was before the match.
Okay.
Now think about what these ropes represent, what the ring represents, all this, and look at how Rocky Horror postmodern embracing this chaos of the mid-90s is.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So of course Vince McMahon smells money as early as 1994.
It is his talent.
Yes.
That like a shark in the ocean, he can smell a dollar from
Yes.
1,000 miles away.
So
okay.
I think this is a good place to end it. We will pick back up in 1994 at WCW in Baltimore.
Okay.
I believe it's Baltimore. Yeah, that was
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like
Here's what I recommend everybody do. I'm not going to give a book recommendation. I'm going to give a recommendation that you go onto your YouTube machines and you type in New Jack Vice, V-I-C-E.
Okay.
And up will pop a documentary on New Jack.
Okay.
Watch it because it's astounding.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my recommendation.
Okay.
I'm not even going to ask you what you gleaned because you are so gobsmacked right
Like
now.
what the holy hell? Okay, yeah.
So if you have a book recommendation, we'll take it. Otherwise, we'll just jump right
okay,
to
yeah,
plugging
no, I
stuff.
do,
Yeah.
I do have a book recommendation.
Let's do it.
I am going to recommend that anybody who is a regular listener to this podcast,
We love you.
yes, we love you so much. I recommend very strongly you go out and you find yourself a copy of Dune, the first novel.
Okay.
Only the first novel because that's going to be work enough on its own. And because when we get done with this saga, that's going to be the next thing that I'm going to be teaching Damian about. And there is so much going on in that book. And it really, I mean, it's a classic of the genre. It really is a seminal work in a whole bunch of different ways. And to prepare for that discussion, I highly recommend you go out and read the book. You can also certainly watch the 80s David Lynch film.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I'm going to be focusing on the book.
Okay.
For those episodes that we're going to be talking about it. And another time I'll do a comparison between the book and the movie, just because, again, there's so much going on.
Sure.
In the book that
Okay.
yeah. So that's my go read Dune.
Okay.
It'll take some time. So that's probably going to be my recommendation at the end of the next
You're going to
episode
have it.
too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Cool. Well, where can people find you on the interwebs?
They can find me on the interwebs at Blaylock on Twitter and Mr. Blaylock on the Insta and on TikTok. And where can they find you?
Well, you can find me as usual on twitch.tv/Capital Puns every Tuesday night. Although we are shortening our schedule. By the time this drops, the next episode that you'll see of Capital Punishment will be June 1st.
Okay.
We're going to go back to a monthly thing. Although
Okay.
if you want to watch that channel and watch us play games, feel free. We're playing games on that channel. Also, if you go onto the YouTubes and you type in MSF Excelsior Gaming, you'll probably find my collaboration with Ian McDonald.
Yes.
Which is a lot of fun. We talk about Marvel Strike Force. The other place you can find me is at Duh Harmony on the Twitter and the Insta, and that should be more than enough.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And of course, if you want to point out some error in our reporting of the historical events or the popular culture geekness of what we're talking about, you can find us collectively at Geek History Time on Twitter. And by all means, if we've gotten something wrong, seriously correct us, let us know, because that's part of what this is about. And otherwise, for A Geek History of Time, I'm Ed Blaylock.
And I'm Damian Harmony.
And until next time, keep rolling 20s.